Welcome, ladies, to the YLopnet. This is Catherine, AAC4YL Net Control for this evening's net. We meet every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Echolink Alara conference node. Be sure to invite all YLs you know to join us. We ask that only YLs or licensed young lady ham radio operators check in and participate. The purpose of this net is to encourage you to become and stay active with amateur radio, help each other improve our operating knowledge and skills, and have fun. For more ham fun between weekly nets, check out the YLopnet Facebook group. During the net, be sure to join us in the NFARL Do Drop In chat room by opening any web browser and going to nfarl.dodropin.org. Just put your name, call sign in the box and then click Log In. YLs who would like to check in, give us your call sign, name, and current location. And don't forget that there is a 3 to 4 second delay when transmitting through Echolink. This is Catherine, AC4YL. We will now begin taking check-ins. Please call now. Kilo Alpha 7, Sierra Kilo Yankee, Sky, in Gardner, Washington.
AC8PKY, Linda, Knox, Indiana.
November Echo Zero Delta Bravo, any 0DB, Rhea, Colorado.
WA4YL, Dawn, Florida. W5MQC, Michelle, Oklahoma.
One AYL, Ann, New Hampshire.
Whiskey Oscar 5 Juliet, Mary Linda, McKinney, Texas.
Okay, very good. We will start with that first round of check-ins. So we have Sky, KA7SKY, joining us from Washington. KC8PKY, Linda, joining us from Indiana. Rita, NE0DB, joining us from Colorado. And Rita, your mic is a little hot tonight. There was a little bit of overdriving going on, so you might just want to adjust your mic gain down just a bit. But other than that, I heard you clearly, so good evening to you. Dawn, WA4YL, joining us from Florida. Michelle, W5MQC, joining us from Oklahoma. And W1AYL, joining us from New Hampshire. And WO5J, Mary Linda, joining us from Texas this evening. Good evening to you, ladies. We have some others popping in here, so we'll go ahead and ask for any other YLs who'd like to check into the net this evening. Please call now.
WB1DHT, Connie, in Bridgewater, Massachusetts.
This is Carol in Kentucky, K4SIF.
Okay, very good. So adding to the group, we have WB1DHT Connie joining us from Massachusetts this evening. Good evening, Connie. Welcome back. Susie, N8CGM, joining us from Ohio. Susie, no audio, but no worries. I saw you key up, so we got you. In the log, good evening to you, Susie. It's great to have you with us. And Carol, K4SAF, checking in from Kentucky this evening. So good evening to you. What a great group we got so far, and I'm sure we'll have some more most likely popping in throughout the net. So I hope everybody's doing well this week and has had a good week. And have been staying busy in amateur radio and other activities, no doubt. So I'd like to say good evening to everyone. And what I thought we'd do to kick off the net is go ahead and see if anybody would like to tell us any ham radio activities you've been involved in over the last week, whether it be a class, teaching a class, attending a class, going to a ham fest, anything, participating in a contest perhaps over the weekend, or just getting on and doing some hunt and pounce or rag chewing. Anybody have anything you want to tell the group here, or anything up and coming that you are looking forward to participating in? I would love to hear from you. So please call now, AC4YL.
Why?
All right, please go ahead, Linda.
Well, tomorrow, my husband and I are heading for Brooklyn, Michigan. Saturday and Sunday is the first Great Lakes Division HamCon. It was going to be held at Michigan International Speedway. So it's going to be interesting to see what they have to offer there. And with that, I'll turn it back to the net.
All right, fantastic, Linda. I'm sure you guys are excited about that. Was hoping to go this year, but doesn't look like I'm going to make it. But we'll have to try again next year. Too much going on to go this year, but hopefully be able to make it next year. So I hope you guys have a great time and take some pictures, and you know, feel free to post any of those on the YLopnet Facebook group. We'd love to see those, Linda. And I know you guys are still working away on that tower, so keep that up. And thanks so much for sharing the progress and photos on the Facebook page as well. I know the gals like to see that, and looking forward to see that through completion there, Linda. Well, thanks so much. Appreciate you. Anybody else have something you'd like to share with the group? Please call now.
W1AYL.
Good evening, Ann. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Catherine. I just wanted to share with you all that I took my general exam this Sunday and passed it, so I was really pleased about that. And I wanted to thank you all for really, I think, helping me by inspiring me through this net. And I had the pleasure of meeting Nisi there, KA1ULN, and she was there as part of the VE team, and she was passing around YL books and some membership forms, so she was doing a great job for the YL. And that's it. Thank you, Catherine. Back to net.
Well, that is fantastic, Ann. Congratulations. And we're glad that you know, we were able to support you here on the net. You know, that's kind of the purpose of this net, is to help ladies get involved and have fun with amateur radio and learn stuff. We all learn something, no matter how long or short we've been involved in the hobby, so that's great. And glad you got to meet Nisi as well. And it looks like she's over in the chat room, but I don't see her on Echolink yet. But she may have dropped below on my list here. So, oh, there you are. Ah, thanks, Nisi. I see you there. All right, awesome. So, congratulations, Ann. Very glad to have you here with us, and congratulations again on passing your general. That's exciting. So who knows? Maybe you'll go for your extra soon, right? That one takes a little bit more work, I will tell you, but it's worth it, because then all you have to know is the bottom of the band and the top of the band. Everywhere else in that territory is yours. So awesome. Okay, anybody else have something you'd like to share with the group? Please call now.
Sure, why not? This is Kilo Alpha 1 United Lima November. Good evening. Just like to pass on to YLs that, please try to get your VE. There's nothing to it, just, there's a question, there's 25 questions, it's online, the answers are already there. It's not really a test, it's just something extra. So please, if you got your extra or your general, please be in VE. You can ask Ann, W1AYL. It's so good for another YL to see another YL when they're taking a test. So please, get your VE. Get your VE so you can administer ham radio tests to YLs and everybody else. Thanks, Kat. Back to Net.
All right, very good, Nisi. Well, thanks for that, and it's a great idea. Go ahead and start up and become a volunteer examiner or a VE. And as Nisi mentioned, it's quite simple to do. You can find information on how to do that and participate on the ARRL website. Okay. Let's see what else. Anybody else have an announcement or anything for the group here?
K4SIS.
Please go ahead, Carol.
Okay, I wanted to identify to make sure I wasn't going to double with somebody. Hello to everybody, and I want to congratulate Dawn. No, let's see, is it Dawn? WA4YL? I'm not sure now. Somebody got the general. I wrote down Dawn, but I don't think that's right. Anyway, I know it had YL on the end of the call, but congratulations to you. And I just came from our local Moorhead Amateur Radio Club, and we're planning a ham fest on Saturday. First one, it's called the Cave Run Ham Fest, your Cave Run Lake here in beautiful Kentucky. So I don't think any of you live close enough that you would be attending, but we hope to have a good time. So back to you. I got my plaque too from Teresa in the Philippines. So I was busy here putting a picture of me with that plaque on our YLRL group page. So pretty sweet, everybody, and back to you.
Okay, very good, Carol. Well, thanks so much for your comments there. And who knows, maybe one of these days one of us will be traveling through Kentucky about the time of the Ham Fest and stop in. You never know. That's great to hear you out there, Carol. And That was Ann, W1AYL, who just passed her general exam, so you were close. Close, so no worries there, Carol, no worries at all. Very good. Okay, let's see, Ann's joined us, WB1ARU, so good evening to you, Ann, and welcome to the group this evening. And let's see what else we have going on. Chrissy is over in the chat right now on Do Drop In. So if you'd like to say hi to Chrissy, KC9ZHV, she's over in the chat and not in Echolink right now. I don't think she can be based on where she is and what she's up to there, I think. I'm not sure if she's able to get on with us here, but please hop over there and say hi. We know we've been missing her here. She's been busy doing some other things, so feel free to pop over there and say hello to Chrissy, KC9ZHV. Okay, anybody else have anything for the group here? Please call now. Okay, not hearing anyone, so we'll go ahead and pick up where we left off then last week. So last week we started talking a little bit about emergency service and that side of amateur radio. And we were talking about how various things that we do and participate in amateur radio can help prepare us to assist in a post-disaster situation. Such as passing traffic, but the things that we do, such as contesting, field day, all of those things that either we utilize to introduce the community to amateur radio and what it does for the community as a whole, and what we're able to do by throwing up an antenna and talking around the world off-grid using generators and battery power and solar power as well. And so that's one way, and at the same time, we can also introduce others to amateur radio and give them a chance to see what it's like to be on the radio and have a conversation or a short QSO with someone on the radio and get a feel for what that's like. But also contesting helps us prepare us for passing traffic and exchanging information accurately over the air. So that's one way that contesting can help us prepare to participate and assist in an emergency situation. So those are just a couple of things we covered last week. We also started mentioning some terminology, and on the Facebook page, posted some of those terms that you hear often when you are talking about amateur radio and emergency service and public service. And some of those that were posted on there are ACS or ARES, ARRL Field Organization, ARRL Section Managers, CERT, DEC, EOC, FEMA, HOP, Hospital Emergency Team, ICS, MARS, MOU, Public Info Coordinator, RACES, Saturn, SEC, lots of terms there. Some of you may be familiar with, and some you might not be. So what I thought we'd do is spend just a little bit of time this week talking about a couple of those and discussing what they mean and how they differ from some of the other ones, because some people may mistakenly associate two things to mean the same thing. And Rhea had commented on the Facebook group that there is certainly a difference between ARES and RACES, R-A-C-E-S. So there's a difference between the two, and what is it? So what I'd like us to do is we go through these, the terms, the terminology associated with it, that we do more than just cover what the acronym stands for, what the individual words are, So really what it means, what's behind it, what does that organization or person do, and how it relates to amateur radio and emergency service. So the first one is kind of the most common that you hear, and that's ARES, A-R-E-S. So who can start off by just telling us what ARES stands for? Let's start there.
This is WA4YL. It is the Amateur Radio Emergency Services.
Okay, very good, Dawn. Thank you very much for that. So ARES, or ARES, stands for Amateur Radio Emergency Service. Very good, Dawn. Thank you. So who can tell us a little bit about what that is? What is ARES? What is Amateur Radio Emergency Service? What is involved in that? What is it exactly? Okay, well, I'll kick it off then. So Amateur Radio Emergency Service, or ARES, is basically a group of licensed amateurs who volunteer their qualifications and equipment and register them with a local ARES group or leadership group for communications duty and public service when disaster strikes. So, it's a group of amateurs who voluntarily register their qualifications and their equipment with a local ARES leadership team to register to assist in public service when a disaster strikes. So that's what ARES is, or becoming a member of ARES, an Amateur Radio Emergency Service. So what do you have to do to become a member? What's required to become a member of ARES?
Well, this is Carol, K4SIS. Well, I'm a member of ARES and our local club, the Moorhead Amateur Radio Society Club, is an ARES, recognized ARES club. And if you're a licensed amateur, you're invited to join it. We have quite a few on our roster here in Eastern Kentucky. And we do have a net. We have a local 2-meter net, meets on Monday nights at 8 o'clock, and we have people from several counties in northeastern Kentucky. We usually have at least 35 people check into our local net, and all those people are willing and able to help us in an emergency. And in the wintertime, we've had as many as 50 check in. So we've got a very active group here in our area. Over.
Well, very good, Carol. Thank you so much for sharing that. And as Carol mentioned, all you need is to be a licensed ham radio operator, a licensed amateur. You do not have to be a member of ARRL or any other local or national organization to participate. You can apply for membership in ARES. Now, some groups require training, or it's desired that you complete certain training to participate fully in ARES. If you're not sure about the requirements in your area, then you can check at your local level for specific information. And on the Facebook group from last week, we covered some links there, and one of those is arrl.org/ARES, and that will take you to the ARRL ARES page. where at the bottom you can look up areas by section, and you can find your section emergency coordinator and section leaders on your local level there, and inquire of them what you would need to do to participate in ARES and get involved and what the requirements are. The possession of emergency-powered equipment is desired, but it's not required. So they do desire that you possess emergency-powered equipment. You know, it can hook your radio up to a battery or a solar. But again, it's not required to be a member. So how do you get involved? You simply fill out the ARES registration form, and there's a link on that page that I just mentioned, arrl.org/ARES, and you submit it to your local emergency coordinator. And again, how do you find that? There's a link at the bottom of that ARES page where you can locate your local emergency coordinator. You can also check with your local amateur radio club. I'm sure that someone in that club has that information, and some of them have an ARES group as a part of that club, like Carol's does. So you can certainly reach out to them as well. Okay, does anybody have any comments or questions to add so far?
WB1ARU. There's something about ARES and RACES not being in the same areas all the time. I'd like that question answered maybe after you talk about what RACES is.
Oh, most certainly, Anne. We will certainly go into that momentarily. Any other comments on ARES before we roll right into the next topic? Okay, very good. So, thanks, Anne, for that segue. We will now go into what is RACES. They have a website, usraces.org, USRACES.org. So who can tell us what RACES stands for?
ACACKY.
I knew Linda would know. Linda, please go ahead.
Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Services.
Boy, doesn't that just make you grateful for acronyms? Thank you very much, Linda. So, who can tell us a little bit about what it is? What is Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Service? What is it, and why does it exist? I hear cricket. Okay, so Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Service is a protocol that was created by FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, and the FCC, and many government agencies across the country train their auxiliary communications service volunteers using that protocol. So it's a emergency service protocol that is followed by volunteers that participate in the auxiliary communication service. So Again, the volunteer operators are licensed amateur radio operators. They are certified by a civil defense agency. They are able to communicate on amateur radio frequencies during drills, exercises, and emergencies, and they are activated by local, county, and state jurisdictions and are the only amateur radio operators authorized to transmit during declared emergencies when the President of the United States specifically invokes the War Powers Act. So that is, in a nutshell, what RACES is and how it is utilized. So let's go back to Ann's question. What's the difference? What's the difference between ARES and RACES? How are they the same? And it's a great question, and you can actually find the answer again going back to ARRL's website. And I'm just going to put the link in here in the chat rooms so that you can find that information as well. But there's an ARES versus RACES FAQ section. So we're talking about two flavors of emergency service, and sometimes there's some confusion on, well, what's the difference. So we're going to just briefly talk about the difference between those two. So on that page, the question is raised, during an emergency, when is ARES activated and how about RACES? And this gives us a little bit of an idea of how they're different. So ARES is activated before, during, and after an emergency. Generally, ARES handles all emergency messages, including those between government emergency management officials, RACES, and on the other hand, almost never starts before an emergency. Oh, I'm sorry, I ran into that. So ARES handles all emergency messages, including those between government emergency management officials. Now, RACES, on the other hand, almost never starts before an emergency and is only active during the emergency and during the immediate aftermath if government emergency management offices need communications support. RACES is normally shut down shortly after the emergency has cleared. So, again, ARES generally handles the emergency messages and is activated before, during, and after an emergency, whereas RACES, it pretty much is during the emergency and shortly after. Once the emergency is cleared, the RACES is pretty much finished. ARES may still continue to assist with communication protocol. Those communications between government emergency management officials. So that's kind of at least a little bit of an understanding of the difference between those two groups. Now there is another difference. Now a station that's operating under RACES, again remember that's a protocol that is used, may only communicate with another RACES station licensed to the local civil defense organization, other RACES licensees, and certain amateur stations registered with civil defense organizations, certain U.S. government station authorized by the responsible agency to communicate with RACES stations, and stations in a service regulated by the FCC when authorized by the FCC. So they're limited in who they can communicate with. However, a station operating in ARES may communicate with any amateur station. So as long as they're a licensed amateur radio operator, a station operating in ARES in that group can communicate with any other licensed amateur radio operator. So that's just another difference between the two. So again, RACES, you have a limit on who you can communicate with. Again, those are active during an emergency and shortly after an emergency, whereas ARES can really take you kind of through the entire situation or scenario. So we've heard Hurricane WatchNet kick off prior to hurricanes making landfall. That's that participation in that activation prior to the emergency event, and would stay active through the emergency and even post-emergency. So That's kind of your difference there. So hopefully that answered your question there, Ann. Do we have any other comments or questions about Aries or Races? Okay, very good. So hopefully that gives you gals an idea, a little bit more information about Aries and Races and how they operate a little bit more. We haven't gone too much in depth, but wanted to go through some of this information for you gals as it's a bit confusing, and quite frankly, just in researching it for the net, I'm also learning some things. So trying to learn a little bit more about these other forms of ways to get involved in amateur radio as well. So, okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay, so in doing some research here, again, if you go to usraces.org, there's a whole resource library which is quite interesting. There's a lot of information in there that you can look at and learn more about that organization. And again, ARRL has a great website with additional information, not only about Aries, but other forms of getting involved in public service and emergency service. So I encourage you to take a look at those, and we'll cover a little bit more as well, and try to learn some of these things as we go along. Some of you are already involved and have done some things when it comes to assisting in Aries and emergency situations and post-emergency situations. Does anybody have any experiences that you'd like to share with the group here this evening? Okay, let's change topics then. So let's see, we've got some ham radio activity coming up this weekend. Who plans on playing radio this weekend, and what do you plan on participating in? There's a few contests going on, so if you'd like to come in and tell us a bit more about those, please call now.
Alrighty, if nobody else says anything, there are a couple of great contests this weekend, or sprints. One is the YLRLDX North America YL Anniversary Contest. It actually starts 1400 tomorrow, and through October 8th at 02 Zulu. 02 Zulu is like 10 o'clock. So I think it's 4 o'clock tomorrow through 10 o'clock Saturday, I think. That's the Zulu time, and it still doesn't flow through my head. There's an ARRL EME contest. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's the main one. Back to you, Cap.
Okay, very good, Nisi. So, yeah, there's a few contests that are going on this weekend. As Nisi mentioned, the YLRLDX North America Anniversary Contest is this weekend, and the ARRL EME Contest is also taking place this weekend. And let's see, there's a couple of QSO parties, I believe. There's California QSO party is going on this weekend, so if you don't have California in your log and you are working on Work All States, this weekend would be a good time to get in there and get them on. There'll be quite a few of them on the air this weekend. There's the 1010 International Sprint that happens, let's see, that doesn't happen until the 10th, so that's coming up on Tuesday of next week. So it'll be before next week's net. So there's a few fun contests going on this weekend. The SKCC Weekend Sprintathon. If you want to play some CW, you can certainly do that as well. And the EME contest, by the way, for those of you that aren't familiar, the objective is to work as many amateur stations as possible via the Earth-Moon-Earth path on any authorized amateur frequency above 50 megahertz. Just a little bit of info on that. So that's pretty cool. The YLRL DXNA YL Anniversary Contest. Let me see if I can pull up the rules here real quick. Let's see here, scroll on down. You can find the information on that on the YLRL website, and Nisi did post that over in the Do Drop In chat room, so you can certainly check that out. Okay, so DXYLs try to work North American YLs, and North American YLs try to work as many DXYLs as you can. All bands except work bands are eligible. Contacts with OMs don't count, so this particular contest is YL to YL is how this works. Again, there's, I believe, a log sheet that's available on the page as well that you can download. And all of that information, again, can be found on the YLRL website under the contest section. So encourage you, if you can, participate, get on the air this weekend and have some fun in any of these contests. Just have some fun. I hope to get out and activate a park this weekend. Have not done that for KFF yet, which is the U.S. version of Worldwide Flora and Fauna. So looking forward to getting out and trying to activate a park this weekend for that, have some fun, and who knows, maybe work a pile up. So looking forward to that, and hope to get quite a few contacts on that. That would be awesome. Okay, anybody else have any other comments or anything that you plan on doing on the radio this weekend? Okay, not hearing anything. So that is really all I had for this evening, other than if we have want to go through some more terminology when it comes to Aries and emergency service. So what I'd like to do now is open it up to the group and see if any of you gals have any general amateur radio questions that you'd like to pose to the group, or any particular topic you'd like to discuss this evening.
Don't be bashful. We can help you. We are here to help. You can help us, and we can help you. We're sisters. Please don't be bashful.
Okay, not really hearing anything, but it's hard to believe it's October already, and we're getting up toward the end of the year. And you know, it's the 5th of October, and that means that this net has just passed 3 years being up and active on the air here. So I'd like to just take a moment and celebrate 3 years of this net being in existence, and we've had a lot of you have been on this net since day one, and some of you for not far after that. And it's been really wonderful to have you gals here with us, and to see the progression of this net. And we've seen several gals that have just stuck with it for a very long time throughout most of those 3 years. And we want to take a moment and say thank you for your support, and certainly want to thank Laura for their support in allowing us to use this conference, and the support from the North Fulton Amateur Radio League that allowed me to start this net off and get it going using their repeater and Echolink connection. And we still use their drop-in chat room to this day, and we appreciate being able to use these tools. And we've gone from just being the net on the local repeater and their Echolink connection to being on a large conference server with several of you gals. The first opening net, I believe, had about 14 gals check in, and it was wonderful to have that group to kick off, and appreciate all the support from that. It's been a fun 3 years. We've covered a lot of different topics, and you know, we've gone from just that to also having a Facebook group that you gals can get in and participate, and a website in the works. So a lot of changes and a lot of growth going on, and want us to take a moment and say thank you to all of you for that. Hopefully we'll be able to continue to keep this net going for a very long time. And of course it wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you ladies getting on every week, and certainly having you all on here, as several of you put on a regular basis, is it's like being able to hang out with family, our amateur radio family, and certainly is a joy to be able to do that, to learn different things and to share our experiences in amateur radio and other things. You know, we've talked about several other things on this net as well, in addition to amateur radio. you know, it's kind of a unique net in the sense that it's not entirely a social net, although we do interact regularly and we know each other a bit better when we're on every week together. But it's more of a learning and education and a sharing net, and a place where you gals hopefully feel comfortable coming here with your amateur radio questions and your experiences and your knowledge. So, you know, certainly appreciate that as well, and you sharing that with the groups over the last 3 years. We've covered some history and some emergency service and basic operating on repeaters and getting our Echolink tweaked a bit and working better. And you know, we've covered a lot of different topics. We had Shirley come on and tell us a little bit more about Australian culture and things out her way that might be a little different to help educate us a bit there. And it's funny, the different stories that we've heard over time as well. You know, Nisi's got her blog where she posts a lot of good information as well, ka1uln.blogspot.com. So lots of cool things that we've been working on over the last few years, and hopefully we'll continue to be able to share that with you gals and as we continue to learn more from each other. Okay, with that, I think we've had some other gals that have joined us, so let's see if we have anyone else who has not yet checked into the net this evening who would like to do so. So if we have any YLs out there that have not had a chance to check in, please call now.
AE7MB, Margaret, Battleground, Washington.
N5KUO, Judy, Norman, Oklahoma.
Okay, very good. So we have Margaret, AE7MB, who's joined us from Washington. Good evening, Margaret. Judy, N5KUO, joining us from Oklahoma. CJ, I see CJ just popped in, K7CJS. So good evening, CJ. And Sarah is also here with us, AB7PS, also in Washington. So good evening, Sarah. Glad to have you here with us as well. So again, great group this evening. Okay, so perhaps you've had a few moments to think about any questions or topic you might like to cover this evening. So if there's something that you'd like to ask the group here, we'd love to be able to help you out if we can, or at least maybe do a little research and we can all learn something. You never know. So if any of you gals have a topic or a question for the group, please go ahead and call now.
This is WA4YL with a question.
Please go ahead, Dawn.
Yeah, I have the YLopnet10, and I was trying to adjust the knot short it today. And I want to know what level the notch should be at. You know, as far as, should I have it at 1300, 1400? I'm not sure where to set it.
Okay, great question, Dawn. So, does anybody have any suggestions or can point Dawn to a certain direction with their question?
I didn't understand your question. What was your question again?
Okay, Dawn, would you like to come back and repeat your question for the group?
This is WA4YL. What I wanted to know is, I have a notch filter on my radio, and I was trying to set it today, and I'm not sure what number to set it at on the Yaesu 991. I had it 1200, then I lowered it, and then I'm trying to figure out, should I be on what, wide or narrow? Just wanted an answer to some of these questions. Back to net and draw.
I will take a stab at it. I don't know your radio particularly, Dawn, but I know on the one that we used to have, I used to play with the notch filters until it sounded the way I wanted it to sound. Sometimes, I most of the time left it alone, but sometimes it needed to sound different to me, so I'd use the notch filters, or it would help if there was a lot of QRM sometimes. I haven't really got the hang of the filters on this new radio yet, but I was doing okay with the old one. But I used a fairly low setting. I guess that's what it would be, lower numbers. If you make it too high or too tight, everything sounds really strange, at least to me. So I kind of went for what sounded the most normal and didn't change it too much.
Thank you, Ann, for that advice. I guess I'll leave it alone or when I figure out the best sound for me. And when I find it, that's where it's going to stay. WA4YL.
Well, Dawn, the interesting thing about a notch filter is it's not a stagnant thing. You will change it depending on band conditions, sound or noise level, and interference signal. So it's not one of those settings that you set and change or set and leave it alone. You'll find you can change it, and you'll change it fairly often, again, depending on band conditions and interfering signals, because the idea of the notch filter is to cut out the interfering signal so you can hone in on the one you're trying to hear. So you're going to adjust it often, so there's not really a particular setting that you set and forget it. It's one that you will change, again, as input until it sounds how you want it to, or really where you can pick up who you're trying to work, the station you're trying to hear. So, you know, you may, they may have a wide bandwidth on their signal, so you want your notch filter to have wide, to be set to wide so you can hear the entire signal and pull out what they're saying. So again, you're going to adjust that on a fairly regular basis when you're trying to work stations. So there really isn't a particular setting that you set and leave it on. So hopefully that helps you. And what you can do is find a signal that tune around the band a bit until you find a station that's coming in fairly clear where you can at least understand what they're saying, but then adjust that notch filter and play with it and see what it does to the sound, and whether it gets clear for you and you can hear that station even better if you narrow that notch filter or if you widen that notch filter. And I believe your radio, I think the 991, has a waterfall, which is also helpful to give you kind of a visual as well. So hopefully that helps you out, Dawn, and thank you, Ann, for your comments. Very helpful. Hopefully that helps you there, Dawn. Great question, by the way.
Thank you, Catherine and Ann. This is WA4YL. You were a big help tonight. I've been trying to wrap my head around this for like a day now. And your answers were perfect and were a big help. Thank you again. WA4YL, back to net control.
We certainly don't want to cut anyone else out. Does anybody else have any comments or suggestions for Dawn about notch filters and adjusting those? Please go ahead and throw in your suggestion. We'd love to hear it. Okay, very good. All right, well, let's open it back up to the group now. It's an excellent question there, Dawn. Does anybody else have a question or a topic for the group that you'd like to cover or you'd like a little more information on?
W5NQC.
Please, go ahead, Michelle.
Well, good evening, ladies. I don't really have a question, but more of I know Rhea is not here, but ladies, she helped me out so much trying to get FT8 going, and I think we did a lot of it on your Facebook page, a lot of screenshotting and stuff, but what a great help she was. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody on this net. I'm not sure that I would have gotten as far as I did, and I made 37 QSOs this weekend. So really excited, and I'm very glad for everybody's help here. Back to net control, W5NQC.
Well, that is fantastic, Michelle. Congratulations, and that's exciting when you can get your head wrapped around and try a new mode. And yes, I hope to reach out to Rhea and have her do a kind of an intro to digital modes and kind of help us, for those of us who haven't even done anything with digital modes, help us from the basic level of what equipment do we need and how do we get started. So I'm going to reach out to her and ask her to come on the net and cover that for us if she doesn't mind doing that, to kind of help us all get a bit more introduced to digital modes, including FT8. Would love to hear her input and her advice in getting started. So thanks, Michelle, for coming in and telling us about that and bringing that up. It's awesome that you gals were able to connect there and help each other to do that, and we're really glad to have you here with us as well, Michelle. So thank you so much for being part of the group. We love having you. Okay, so back to the group here. again, and please don't worry about if your questions sound simple or very basic. You know, that's the purpose of this net, is to help those of you that are newly licensed get a little more familiar and a little more comfortable, you know, in getting active in amateur radio. That's why we're here. So if you have you know, questions on just you know, talking on the repeater, or how do I have a QSO on HF, or you know, any of those, it doesn't matter how basic that question might sound to you. It's funny because sometimes those questions like that can open up to a larger discussion. So before we open it back up, though, let's check with Ann. Ann, are we doing an HF net tonight, and do we have a frequency?
Well, I have a shared shack, and the HF radio is currently in use, so I'll let you know. WB1ARU.
Okay, very good, Ann. Well, we'll look for any info in the chats then on that. So very good. Okay, well, let's open it back up to the group then and see if anybody else has a question or a topic or anything you would like to comment or cover this evening.
Yeah, good evening. It's Carol, Victor Alpha 3, Whiskey Hotel Uniform here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. A little late joining the girls tonight. Apologies on my lateness to the group this evening. I've just been out to the Burlington Amateur Radio Club's monthly meeting, and there was a gentleman there from RAC, the Radio Amateurs of Canada, giving a talk. So I'm a little bit late joining the group tonight. Hello to everybody here on the group. Have a lovely evening, and look forward to joining what's left of this discussion. Over.
All right, very good, Carol. Well, great to have you here with us this evening. Glad you made it, and were able to come in and say hello. So great to have you, and welcome. Let's open it back up to the group. Anybody else have any comments, questions, or topics you'd like to cover this evening? Okay, well, not hearing anything, so I'll throw one in the hat then here. So I did see a question on Facebook regarding QSL cards. So let's take a moment and talk a little bit about a QSL card. So first of all, for some of the gals on here that might be really new and not familiar with what QSL cards are, or why you would have one, who can tell us a little bit about what is a QSL card, and what's the purpose of one, of having one, and when would you use it?
Well, I haven't got the HF rig yet, so I'll keep yakking here. WB1ARU. Well, in the days before, there were such things as being able to confirm your contacts electronically via various logging sites on the internet. The way you confirmed a contact with someone was via U.S. Postal Service or international postage with a card where you filled in the information about your QSO and sent it off, and if you wanted one in return, you said so, and you got one back. And there are people with huge collections of QSL cards, and in the old days, if you wanted to get an award, you had to on the organization either send a box full of cards to the person who was granting the award, or you had your cards certified by another ham that they were all there and actually were your cards for your contacts for whatever award you were going for. So for 100, for YLCC, for instance, you had to have 100 cards in your possession that confirmed that you had made contact with another YL. You didn't have to submit all 100 cards, but some other ham had to certify that they had seen your 100 cards, that they indeed recorded your 100 contacts. Of course, nowadays with 2RZ and all of the other online logging programs, Logbook of the World, etc., kind of gone by the wayside. So now they're becoming popular as a friendly way to confirm, and people are making their QSL cards, and always have made their QSL cards, unique. And before I time out, back to that.
Okay, very good, Anne. Well, thank you very much for that information and comments about QSL cards. So, you know, it's kind of fun that as Anne mentioned, you know, you make those unique. So, you know, your QSL card is kind of a representation, I guess you could say, of you or your shack or where you live. It's often used in that way to do that. So, and again, as Anne mentioned, it's to confirm a QSO in writing, and you can ask for a QSL card back, and a lot of people collect them. Even to this day, even with the advent of computers and eQSL cards and you know, logging programs and, you know, Logbook of the World, people still collect QSL cards, and they still send them. And I personally find them a lot of fun to get. I mean, you know, well, think about what you get in the mail these days. You know, you used to get letters and envelopes handwritten by, you know, relatives or friends, and now you get printed advertisements trying to get you to buy this, that, and the other, or get a credit card, or, you know, all this other junk that you end up shredding or recycling or whatever. You know, but a QSL card, that's exciting. It's unique. It's a lot of fun. So, you know, and again, you can make it your own. You can design it. You can have a photo of yourself. You can have a photo of your shack. You can have a photo of where you're located, or several pictures that represent where you're located and what it's known for, and, you know, those kinds of things. In addition to the QSO information, what frequency and what day and what time you made contact and with whom. So it's really, really, really neat. QSL cards are pretty cool. Who else has comments about QSL cards or your thoughts on them? What do you think about QSL cards?
This is WA4YL. QSL cards are fun to get. I have so many. I enjoy the different places they come from. I've gotten some from as far away as the Netherlands and Australia, and I've even used eQSL. I'm on that too, and all the cards are unique in their own way. But the most exciting one I got was one all the way from Israel, from a station out there. And it was in my mailbox, and I was surprised to think that it came from so far away. And then I got some QSLs from the Bureau, too. And that was exciting in all of itself. WA4YL, back to net control.
All right, very good, Dawn. Well, thank you very much. Just real quick, Ann is over on 40 meters. If any of you gals have 40 meter capability, feel free to hop over to 7.218 and see if you can hear Ann or make contact with Ann over there. if you like, or feel free to hang out here if you like. We've got about 15 minutes left here, so you're more than welcome to go there and come back, or go hang out over there, or stay here, whatever your preference. So thank you, Dawn, for your comments on that. It's a lot of fun. And I'm going to. Melanie's not on tonight. She had to work. But she wanted to say hello to everybody, AG4YL. So I'll pass that along for her. But it was kind of cool because some of you may know this. She's mentioned it in the past. But her father was a licensed amateur radio operator, and he became a silent key in 1972. But every once in a while, Melanie would do a search for her dad's old call sign, which was K8BRS, and she actually happened to do that search, I believe, on eBay, and came across one of her dad's old QSL cards back from 1950, I think it was 58, somewhere in there, I believe. One of his old QSL cards that he had sent to someone back in the 50s, and she was able to get that card. So that's pretty cool to come across your dad's old QSL card that he sent to somebody. That's a pretty unique story. I always thought that was pretty fascinating. And so me personally, I don't have any family that were amateur radio operators. My grandfather was in CB radio because he would drive trucks for his sheet metal business that he ran. He would do deliveries, so he got into CB, but not amateur radio. So it's pretty cool. Anybody else have comments on QSL cards?
This is Kilo November 4, Foxtrot X-Ray Yankee, over.
Okay, I believe that was KN4 FXY, I believe. Please go ahead if you could give us your name and where you're located, and go ahead with your comment. AC4YL here.
This is Linda. I live in LJ. I'm in Cobb County. On the opposite end of the QSL comment from the previous caller, I am the proud owner of my first QSL card. I made a contact on HF, and the gentleman was collecting counties, Georgia counties, and he didn't have mine. So he sent me his card, and I quickly made up some and returned the favor. Over.
Okay, very good, Linda. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. So, yeah, that's another way to utilize QSL cards is, Ann had mentioned before, you use them to confirm a contact, and you put certain information on that card, and it might be your county or your grid location, and those kinds of things for those that collect QSL cards from those. Now, there are also OMs that collect YL cards. They like to collect QSL cards from YLs that they work on the air, and so that's pretty cool too. So very good, Linda. You never know when you might be asked to send a QSL card to someone that needs your county or your state or your grid location. Or, just wants a QSL card from you because they collect them, all in all. So thank you, Linda, and great to have you listening in on the net this evening. Thanks so much for being here with us. Okay, any other comments on QSL cards?
W5MQC.
Please, go ahead, Michelle.
Well, the one thing that I've noticed lately, and not that I have a problem with it at all, because I think, sometimes it's just another way to help people out, but on some of these contests or some of these nonprofits that are doing the contests or the special event stations, when you exchange a QSL card, they'll throw something special in there, like a certificate or something else, for an extra, if you just throw in a couple of extra dollars for them, and it helps with whatever it is that they're trying to raise funds for. And I think that's a neat way to raise funds. You get an exchange of a great conversation with somebody. You exchange some awesome looking QSL cards or certificates, and you know, they get a donation to help them keep going on. W5MQC.
All right, very good, Michelle. Yeah, great comments there too. And yeah, special event stations, they often have really neat QSL cards that they design as well as part of that. So that's a lot of fun. DXpeditions as well. They often will have special event QSL cards as well, and unique in their design and very special. They do ones every year or whenever they do their DXpedition, they may have one with a different design. So very good. Another one you may see too are QSL cards from shortwave listeners, and that's pretty neat. Where they don't confirm contact with you because they are listening only, they actually will send you a card that indicates that they heard you, on what frequency they heard you, as well as who you were having a QSO with, the other side as well. So, and generally they like to have a QSL card back. And while you didn't make a contact with them, it's neat to know where else, who else was also able to hear you on the air at that time and where they were located. So it's really kind of neat on that end of things as well. Any other comments on QSL cards, or if you got some really neat ones that you really appreciate having in your collection, or about your design and maybe what you've done? Please come in and tell us about it.
This is WA4YL. The other interesting cards I got were from shortwave listeners that have heard me on the amateur bands, and they came from overseas. I'd have to dig up the cards to see where they were originally from, because it was so long ago that I received the cards. So I'll look through my collection and I'll be able to tell more next week. WA4YL, back to net control.
Well, that'll be really cool, Dawn. We'll look forward to that. So yeah, dig around and tell us more about the cards that you've gotten from them. That's really neat. And Michelle mentioned something cool too. You know, with some of these stations, they'll throw in something in with the card, and some of the cards are really neat in that they will give you additional information about. You know, either where they were operating from, whether it was a museum or, you know, there's special events where there's submarines on the air where they'll get on, and you can work them, or lighthouses, and those are just they're really cool and they're fun, and you know, they add interest and excitement to playing radio. So it's really neat. Any other comments on QSL cards, either that you've received or your design, or anything else you'd like to talk about on this topic? Please call in. Well, I think it was Linda that keyed up, KC8PKY. Was it you that keyed up? Did you have a comment, or did I just blink wrong?
try this again. No, he didn't blink wrong, but I must have doubled. I've got a QSL card from a DXpedition that will never happen again. From 3Y0X, Peter the First Island. And it's one that was very difficult for them to set up, and there probably will never be another one from there. So that's pretty neat to get those kind of cards. And with that, I will turn it back as soon as it lets me go.
Well, I got to ask you, Linda, when did you work them? Do you recall when? And that's really cool. And do you recall how long it took you to actually make contact with them? What kind of pile-up you had to go through?
Well, actually, it was like maybe the last day or the day before the last day they left the island. And we went over to a friend's house, and we did it on CW on 17 meters, February 18th, 2006.
Meter 440, link off.
Okay, very good, Linda. Well, awesome. That's cool. Have one from DXpedition that will not reoccur. That's a unique card to hang on to right there for sure. Cool. Thanks, Linda, for sharing that with the group. Anybody else have any comments on QSL cards or any that you've received or your design? Well, somebody keyed up, but I'm not sure who it was. So if you got a comment, just please go ahead and key up and just say your call sign. Go ahead and take the mic.
This is N5KUO. This is Judy. Just wanted to let you know my dad's been a ham for many, many years, K2ARW. And I saw he was putting together a notebook of old QSL cards, and I think there was one from 1929 and one from the mid-30s. I thought that was pretty cool. Back to Net.
Well, that's very neat, Judy. Thanks so much for telling us about that. It's really cool to look at those older QSL cards and the different designs on those. It's a lot of fun. Hey, Judy, Ann's wondering what your dad's call sign was. Do you recall offhand?
Yes, it was K2ARW, and he was out of New Jersey, and now he's in Norman, Oklahoma.
K2ARW, very good. Awesome. I just posted a link to a website, oldqslcards.com, and it's really pretty cool. There's a master file that this gentleman Bob Green, W8JYZ, has put together. There are some QSL cards from the 20s all the way to 1989. He's looking for those, which is really cool. And he puts a database in. He keeps a database of the ones that he has. So if there's one you're looking for, or somebody's QSL card that you're looking for, you can email him and he'll see if he has them, any by that call sign, and he'll scan and make copies of the QSL card that he has. and send that to you. So it's really, really cool. So check it out, oldqslcards.com, and if you're looking for some, looks like he just updated it August 17th of this year and added 600 cards to that database. So it's huge, and you can actually download the master files in PDF format, and you can look for that call sign of somebody you're looking for, and see if he happens to have a card from that person, and see if he can scan it. So it's really kind of cool. oldqslcards.com. So very good. All right. Well, if you can believe it or not, we've reached the end of the net. Hard to believe. Time really started moving on us, didn't it? What we'd like to do real quick is just see if we have any other YLs who have joined us and have not yet checked in and would like to do so. Please go ahead and call now.
AE7MD.
Okay, Margaret, I have you in the log. Did you have a comment as well, or you just wanted to make sure we got you checked in?
Oh, I've got a comment. I want to congratulate you on 3 years of service to the YL ham community. This has been a wonderful ride, and I look forward to another 20 years. Over.
No pressure or anything there, right, Margaret? I don't know. I hope I can keep you gals interested for the next 20 years. Oh, very good. Well, thanks, Margaret. Appreciate your comments there. And again, you gals make the net. So your contributions and your comments are what makes this net interesting and fun. So please keep sharing those, and keep telling us about your ham experiences, and bring your questions, and bring your suggestions, and bring your topics that you want to talk about. We're going to get into some more. We'll be talking about digital and antennas and Anderson power poles and all of these kinds of things. But if you ever have a suggestion or anything that you want to talk about on this net, bring it up on the net. Mention it when we open up for any open topics. Please bring that. The idea is for all of us to have fun and enjoy this net, and for it to be a help to all of us. So thank you very much, everybody. Please, again, don't forget to visit our YLopnet Facebook group. Comment in there on anything we talk about on the net. If you come across a really cool QSL card that you got, please take a picture of it and share it with us on Facebook. Let's have some fun with that if you want. We'd like to take a moment to thank Loren KC9ZHV for live streaming and recording this net and making it available through our YouTube channel, YLopnet YouTube channel. We'd also like to thank Alara for the use of this Echolink conference node, North Fulton Amateur Radio League for their do-drop-in chat room, and all who are linked and listening for your ongoing support of this net. This is Catherine, AC4YL, closing out the YLopnet and returning the Alara conference node to normal use. 33 ladies, thank you again so much. We will catch you all next week.
A message to pass the net, KCMQ.
KC8CMQ, please go ahead. I think some of the gals might have already skedaddled, but please go ahead with your comment if you like.
Okay. I got kicked off. I don't know. Up here, I'm on the Echolink. I normally come in here on Monday nights for the General Motors net, but I'm not a YL, but I could go in and get mine and have her come in and say hi to you. KC8CUC. Just a little information to pass to you at the St. Mary's Catholic Church up here in Gaylord has the prestigious thing of talking to the International Space Station tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Let me break. It's going to be about a 20-minute conversation starting about 11 o'clock, and it's going to be on down from the International Space Station is 14580 on the scanner. They're going to come right over the top of us up in this direction, and you guys should be able to hear it. You turn your radio on and listen to them. You can't talk, but you'll hear about 20 questions coming from them. But I think that's the only one that I've known ever since I've been ham radio. It'll be the first station out of Michigan that gets to talk to the ISS. So there you go. If you want to drive up there, you could probably come up and get into the school and watch us do it. But that's a 3-hour trip. With that, we'll send it back at you. Thank you very much. KC9ZHV listening.
All right, very good. Well, thank you very much for that info. I think several of the gals still on here, I'm sure, heard that. Very cool. I'm down in Georgia, so I probably won't make it up to up that way this weekend, but I think a few gals are headed out that way, so very cool. Maybe they'll be going in tomorrow a little early. Thanks so much. Have a great evening, and we'll catch you down the log. 73. From AC4YL.
'73, Catherine. Great net tonight. WA4YL.
Well, thanks, Dawn. Good to hear you out there, and we'll talk to you soon, hopefully. Take care. Have a good one. 33, Dawn. WA4YL, AC4YL.